I don't winterize my camper because I pretty much only use it in the winter and cooler months of the year. So I keep my water tank empty. I've got heat tape thermostatically controlled, wrapped around the water pump and the main water line that comes in. Keep my drains empty. That one's unplugged because there's no water in the tank. Keep the lines empty as well. They're unplugged so there's no water in the lines. But I made a major mistake just a few weeks ago during our last really big freeze here in Tennessee, in that although there was no water in the lines throughout the camper, I forgot to drain the water out of the hot water tank. So there was still some water in the bottom half of the hot water tank. So by not pulling that plug on the outside, everything from those inlets, those fittings that are welded to the aluminum tank, everything from there down remained in the tank. And of course it froze. It was below zero for a couple days. Some water was in the fittings there at those little inlets and caused them to crack. So the tank is ruined. I can't find anyone to weld it. I'm going to end up replacing it. And I'm going to do it a little bit different this time as well. Got a new tank. It's the same Dometic that I had before, same exact model. I contemplated going with an on-demand system, but decided against it just because they do use quite a bit more water and they're less efficient in the long run. And since I do quite a bit of boondocking, I kind of like having a 6-gallon tank. Like when I go out somewhere, I like having an extra 6 gallons on reserve just for hot water. And they use less water, so it's just a better system for me. But I got the same exact model I had before. Also, because of the door situation. These things do not come with doors. You might know that. I didn't know that until I was researching it. And if you switch to a different brand, then you got to get a different door. Sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. Sometimes your opening isn't the same. It becomes a bit of a mess. So just to keep it simple, I'm sticking with the same one. So as you can see, I've capped off the water lines already. I've been using this camper without hot water. So I just capped off the lines to keep it pressurized without any leaks. What I'm going to do in this video is replace the tank and then change the way that everything connects. Since I don't fill this thing up with antifreeze in the wintertime, I don't need those bypass valves that it came with from the factory. Those things were prone to failure anyways. They were really cheap plastic fittings. They always needed to be retightened. It was a bit of a mess. So I'm going to keep it simple. I'm just going to replace the tank and replace the fittings with something that's a bit more robust that'll stand the test of time. And I'm not going to go through a full how-to video of how to take it out, put the new one in, and how to seal it and all that. There's a few different guides online on how to do that already. You can watch some videos. In fact, I'll be watching somebody's video to learn how to do it myself. So that's not the purpose of this. I'm just going to kind of make a video here to show you how it's coming together and what it looks like when it's all done, and how I'm changing some of those fittings. And if you're wondering, here's the model number, WH6GA by Dometic. There's the full label in case you ever need it. And if it helps you any, this particular water heater was inspected by Cherry Klausner. And Cherry did a great job because it's never given me any trouble until I screwed it up by letting it freeze. Okay, so I put the tank in place. It's just pressed up against the outside of the camper. It's not sealed or connected to the propane or anything like that just yet. But I want to get some measurements on how I'm going to do these plumbing lines. In the past, the lines would connect from the top down because of the bypass valve that was installed. Since I'm doing away with the bypass valve, I'm just going to try to go left and right. So I want my lines to go from here down and from here down. And that also puts a slope on it, so when the water is drained, it drains out of the lines and down into the pipes that ultimately go outside the camper. The way it was before, with these going up, whenever it would drain, there would be water that would come down and they would sit in those fittings. And I'm pretty sure that's what froze and broke this one last time. So this way the water would drain out and away, and then the tank will drain out and away, and there shouldn't be anything floating here. And what I'd like to do is have PEX come up and over, and then have the flexible lines from here to the left and to the right. You need to have some kind of flexible line like this because you can't have solid clamped PEX all the way. Well, you can, but you shouldn't. At any rate, I need to maintain some of this stuff, but I don't like how they had it before, looping all the way around like a letter S, and it put too much strain on these clamps down here, not to mention all the plastic crap that was connected here. So we'll see how this turns out. Long explanation for something that'll probably make sense when you see it in a moment. All right, here's what I got lined up. None of this is clamped or permanent yet. But these connectors here for the tank itself allow me to put them at an angle that I want. And then they're easy to just retighten by hand if necessary. There's a little, like an O-ring inside that plastic fitting that butts up against the aluminum of the tank to make a tight seal, hopefully. And then I've got flexible lines here, so that way if I pull this thing out, there's a little bit of wiggle room on these lines. And then they go down to connect the PEX. And then there's a slope down there that takes you to the main lines. Okay, so now I just got to pull out the new tank, connect the propane and the electrical, put some sealant all around, caulking behind it, and then connect everything inside and try it out. And actually, in case you're curious, this one was inspected by Jessica Mosley. So hopefully Jessica does as good a job as Cherry Sherry. Nothing ever goes easy. I cannot get the crimping tool. Look how wide it is. It doesn't fit between the hot water tank and this part of the cabinet. I can't get it in here. It's a very tight space. I kind of got it on the hot lines, but even those are on crooked. They're not on properly. So I'm going to have to cut all that apart, and I'm going to have to go with the push-to-connect fittings like I have here. These are a better way to go about it. They rotate, they swivel. It's safer, and it's just the only way to get into this tight space and push things into place without having to use some bulky tools. Nobody's got them in stock, like I said. I mean, nowhere and anywhere. Even Amazon is out of stock of the Shark Bite brand, the typical brand for this kind of stuff. So I ended up having to order some off-brand Chinese version of these fittings. I'm going to try them out. If they leak or if they're problematic, then I guess I'll just cross that bridge when I get to it. Okay, got everything together. Got good fittings on the hot and cold lines from the tank. Got PEX crimped so that won't move. But then everywhere else, I've got push-to-connect fittings, which do move. All of these rotate within their little joints. So going down the road, it'll be flexible. You can move them around. That's good. I've got the push-to-connect all the way down except for the exterior shower, because those are flexible hoses and you can't use push-to-connect for those. So those just have regular clamps on them. Everything's tight, good. I think it's good. I hope it's good. I'm going to turn on the water and let's see if there's leaks. I hope not. Okay, moment of truth. I hear it. Kicked on. Tank's filling up. No leaks here. No leaks here. Looks pretty good to me. No leaks. No leaks. Pump shut off. Water's pressurized. No leaks here. I'm checking here because I was moving some of this stuff around when I was fitting all the different pipes. Looks good. Everything still looks good here. No leaks at all. No drips, no water, nothing. One reason I like to run my water pressure from the water pump rather than just plugging in a city connection or using the hose here is if there is a leak, I'll hear the hot water pump kick on. And it hasn't kicked on at all since pressurizing everything. It's been several minutes now, so I'm feeling good about it. Now that there's water in the tank, everything's pressurized. The real moment of truth is, do I have hot water? I mean, what's the good of doing all this if it's not going to be hot water, right? So let's try it and see. Hopefully you could hear that. It kicked on and it's heating up. We'll give it a few minutes. Okay, tank's been running for quite a while. I did let the hot water lines pressurize a few minutes ago, but everything should be hot by now. So we're going to try it out and see. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's really hot. Very, very hot. That's good. Turned it off. Water pump stopped making noise. Everything returned to pressure. You think it's good, Ricky? I think it's good. I think we're done. You want some dinner? You want to go eat? Are you hungry? Let's go eat. Come on. All right, I'm coming. Go, go, go.